But then he's like, I get it now, you know what I mean? Like, it's nice. Sometimes it's sometimes yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think it's a bad thing. Right.
It's a short period.
Yeah.
I'm hearing really great things, but we're going to move on from this and talk about what do we know about the brain and how does the brain learn. Kelsey's just giving me the eye because she is, and that's okay. Kelsey, do you know anything about the brain?
Oh, God. The neuron. Did you write that?
I did just write that.
Okay.
Do you know what a neuron is?
It's part of the brain.
It is part of the brain.
Would you like me to name another part of the brain? I can name another part of the brain.
Well, based on your response, I don't know if you quite know so much about the brain because does anyone know what a neuron is? Anyone want to take a guess? What is a neuron? Close.
Basic brain cell.
It is the basic brain cell. Very good. It is a basic brain cell. So in talking about the brain and how the brain works, we can go all the way down to the cellular level to help us understand how learning takes place. And we can use the neuron as an example of that. So a neuron is a cell. And because it is a cell, it has some similar characteristics of any kind of cell. So we're going to be drawing the neuron, and you can do that here in your notes. And this is why we have different color pencils today, is that we are drawing a neuron. So if it's a cell, what would I find at the center of this cell? Very good. I'm going to have a nucleus. Excellent. So I am starting, and by the way, I'm going to use this whole space, so however you want to, make your neuron to size. We're starting with a nucleus because, like any cell, I am going to have a nucleus at the center of my cell, where all of my DNA and such would be. So this is my nucleus. Any other characteristics that you can think of that a cell, because it's a brain cell, what other kind of characteristic it might have? It has a nucleus. A membrane. Okay, good. So a membrane, in that we think of that membrane as a body to my cell. So the next part that we're going to draw is going to be my neuron's cell body. And the cell body, you might remember what kind of a shape does an animal cell have? Does anyone remember what kind of shape an animal cell or a plant cell? Animal is circular or round. Good. Plant? More rectangular. Excellent. A neuron or a brain cell, its cell body is very irregular looking in that it's almost star shaped. So I'm using a different color to indicate a different part, and it's kind of like so. And so this is my cell body. And the cell body of a neuron, this is called my soma. Not to be confused with a stoma, which is the hole that you put in the trachea for people who have throat cancer from smoking.
Stoma means mouth.
Stoma does mean mouth. Yes, it does, because that's where.
That's just what is a quiz bowl question.
Soma means body. Those are Greek words.
Yes, exactly. And so that is why this is the soma or cell body of my neuron. Good. So this is the cell body of my neuron. Anyone know what the purpose of these cells are? Like why have brain cells? Like what do they do for us? Yeah, it's all about communication. Okay, good. So we're looking at communication. This is a type of cell that's going to communicate with other types of cells. And so that's how we get into our other parts of our neuron. So from my soma, I'm going to have these branching fibers. I'm drawing these branching fibers. And again, I'm using a different color to indicate a different part of my neuron. But these are my branching fibers. Does this look like anything to anyone yet? What these branches might remind them of? Antlers? A tree. Good. Like roots. Excellent. And in fact, our word people will appreciate the word for this part of my neuron. In that these tree-like structures, this is called my dendrites. These are my dendrites. My dendrites. Isn't it a Latin word, I believe, for tree? Dendra? Yes, yes, yes. Exactly, dendrites. So they look like roots. They look kind of like vines. And we'll talk in just a moment about its purpose. So we have our dendrites, our branching fibers that come off of my soma, my cell body. But you might notice that I left this part open because it goes to the longest part of my neuron. And the longest part of my neuron is known as my axon. This is my axon. And my axon is going to have a cover to it. Oh, you do, Mr. Creech?
I read about it in the Talent Code.
In the what?
It's a book called the Talent Code,
Yeah.
but I forget the name now. What is it?
Ooh, I'm hearing it. Good. I'm impressed.
I'm impressed by your artistic ability. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Well, you know, I do teach AP Psych 6 times a day, which means that when I teach the neuron, I draw this 6 times a day.
I teach the same thing 6 periods a day and do that, and it doesn't look that good.
Well.
It failed the psychological.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I also draw a very nice eye and ear.
Are those spaced out like that?
Yes, they are.
Connected.
They are not connected, no. I don't want to mess up my markers. That's why I'm erasing my orange. And as I heard several people mention, this is my myelin sheath. Anyone know what kind of tissue the myelin sheath is? Anyone know what kind of tissue? It is fat. It is fat. It is a fatty tissue. Why do you suppose the axon might have a fatty tissue surrounding it? There's actually 2 purposes. Anyone want to take a guess? Insulation, good. So insulation and protection. So that's going to be probably my major reason why I have myelin sheath encasing my axon. But there's a second reason. Kind of, a little bit. How about I give you this hint, and then maybe it'll make more sense. As we age, our myelin sheath deteriorates. And that this happens to all people, that myelin sheath decays, it will deteriorate. What is it that those young folk just really hate about older drivers?
They forget to turn their blinker off.
Blinkers, yes. They're too slow. What are they so slow about?
Reactions.
Yeah, their reactions. And I just mentioned that as we age, our myelin sheath deteriorates. Might that help make a connection about the second purpose of my myelin sheath?
Help the messages move more quickly between
good. So we said that our neuron's all about messaging, and that I'm going to need to send a message point A to point B, okay? That I also need to think about the speed of that message. So my myelin sheath as a fatty tissue is encasing my axon, is protecting my axon, but the other part is that it's making this message, this neural impulse, or technically called an action potential, it makes it move faster. Okay, it's making the message move faster. So having the myelin sheath makes the message move faster. As I get older, then, my myelin sheath is going to deteriorate. And that's one of the reasons why older people are going to have slower reaction times. Now, the final part of my neuron, the end of my neuron, is the place where my message itself is going to exit. Now, when you are exiting out of an airport, what do you exit out of? Where do you leave? What's the part of that airport called? A terminal, exactly. And this is my axon terminal. This is my axon terminal. It's where my message is going to leave. So we said that this is all about messaging. So please repeat after me. Axons speak.
Axons speak.
Dendrites listen.
Dendrites listen.
Again, axons speak.
Axons speak.
Dendrites listen.
Dendrites listen.
What do dendrites do?
Listen.
They listen. So what do you suppose that they do with my message?
They take another neuron's message.
Yeah, they're gonna receive a message, right? Let's do that together. They're receiving. It's like receiving a hug. Please, we're doing this. We're all receiving a message, like receiving a hug. Excellent. What do you think that my soma does with a message? Because it's a cell body. What do you suppose it would do? It's a cell body. Yeah, like interpret. It's going to process my message. We're processing messages. We are all processing messages. Good. My soma is going to process my message. Now, what does my axon do? It speaks. It speaks, right? Axons speak. Dendrites listen. Again, axons speak. Dendrites listen. What do my dendrites do? They're receiving. We're all doing this. We're receiving our message. Good. My soma processes my message. My axon sends the message away. Sends it away. Good. Good. It sends it away. It's fine. It's fine. Good. Okay, so what I was just doing there for you was I was giving you a sample of a lesson utilizing multiple strategies to help with the engagement of this material. So this is material that, there's more parts to the neuron. I'm not going to get into all that with you guys because we're running short on time. But this is one way that I teach my students about the neuron. But I'm teaching them about the neuron because I'm utilizing some of the instructional strategies that were presented to me from Dr. Marcia Tate during her talk. And that there's 20 here, and I'm not going to read all of them. But they're just different ways that help increase student engagement. In that we probably do several of these, but we don't think about doing all of them. So what I'd like you to do now is back with your families. I'd like you to go through the list and identify how many strategies we just used in our neuron example. So go ahead and turn with each other and discuss, because you'll probably get more answers together than doing it on your own. No, we did not take